and VCF division of Broadcom, respectively. And for the most of this time, I'm working in teams who are responsible to build user interfaces like the vSphere client, VMware Cloud Foundation UI, and the ESX client. And since the beginning of this year, I have the chance to manage the team behind the PowerCLI. And I can admit that it's quite a challenging and interesting task for me. I'm definitely passionate about it. I actually figured out that there are quite a similarities between the problems that we solve in the graphic user interface and the PowerCLI interfaces, like the PowerCLI, and obviously in the approaches to resolve this. And so not everything is new to me, to be honest. And actually, on the other side, I also have the perspective from the customer point of view, because I manage a small group of engineers who are responsible to provide the infrastructure for this, for developing and testing these products that I just mentioned. And the automation is essential part of their daily work, the automation of the infrastructure monitoring. And so I have your point of view also. Additionally, I can say that I was really fascinated to understand that actually the commandlets that we have in PowerCLI and that we use on a daily basis is most of them are practically inspired or based on the experience that we have in the vSphere client, for example. And obviously this is quite a successful approach. We all know what we can do with our PowerCLI scripts and commandlets, but still there are corner cases for which we don't have support from the PowerCLI. There are new features that are still not available in PowerCLI commandlets, or there are own products like the VMware Cloud Automation which are not covered by PowerCLI commandlets. And for these cases, we introduced something that we called low-level bindings or low-level commandlets, which actually expose you the interface of the public APIs through the PowerCLI. And the thing is that this approach provides you the full power to manage your infrastructure, but still there are quite some issues. Here you can see that the syntax is how to say not natural for a PowerShell user. They're quite strange. You can see here some config create example stuff that should do the work. So they're really hard to use. Additionally, we lack consistency because this is another low-level auto-generated commandlet, and once again it's not like the previous one. So we lack also documentation and auto-completion. And we know about this. And the good thing is that in the last releases we've managed to fix this. And we introduced you a second generation of this auto-generated commandlets, which is based on the improved APIs that we get from our colleagues from the API teams. We get even more products that are covered by these low-level commandlets like the VMware Cloud Foundation. And of course we have this low-level access and full power of our products. And here you can see how this looks like. Same script that I showed you on the first screen with this create and stuff. It looks like straightforward like this. We have initialize object that creates the spec that we need, and we have invoke operation that actually does the code to the API and do the job. And now I was going to show you how to use this, but what can go wrong? Obviously, I think. So I'm waiting for my laptop to be fixed and to show you the demo. But in general, in order to use these low-level commandlets, obviously you don't have to go. You have to start from the APIs, because now these are not commandlets, but it's just a layer on top of the API that we have. And the first step for you, in order to use it, is to go and get the documentation about the API, not the PowerCLI. So starting from here, then you get to the respective product, which in this case is I was going to show the hyperconverged infrastructure, and the demo is about the VMware Cloud Foundation API. which is somewhere here. I don't know why this screen is so... Yeah. Sorry, I'm not able to find it. Oh, I have to click on the next. No. Okay, well, obviously this link hasn't loaded the proper page, but the first of your task is to go to documentation and to find the API that you need to use. Based on this API, oh, I can get my laptop. Okay.
I'm not sure it's going to work.
Can we merge the screens? Not to be extended.
In extend is not going to work for sure. You need to work in extend mode.
Okay.
Now you are ready.
Okay, so I have to move it there.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
Okay. It's getting really hard. Okay, so now I have to do the demo. Okay, as I just mentioned, the first task for you is to go to the APIs documentation. Let's use for the demo the VMware Cloud Foundation. So after clicking here, we need to go to VMware Cloud Foundation, and here this is your first step. The next thing is to find the respective API that you're going to use for your operation. For example, let's get with something simple like getting the list of the domains. So let's get the domain object. Okay. And let's get the list of all the domains. So this is the API that you have to invoke, and you have to get used to this documentation. First we have prerequisite section. No prerequisite section is needed here, and we just have to invoke the API. And what API we have to invoke? My recommendation is to go and look for the HTTP request that has to be done, which is starting with the get method and calling this path, which is actually the essential part of this demo. Because you understand, here we have the API, and the question is, what is the command that I have to invoke in the PowerCLI, right? And in order to get to this, let me check. In order to get to this, oops. So we do the connection to the server, okay? And in order to get this, we have built helper commandlet that helps me to map the API to the commandlet. So we have actually for the different modules we have this operation. This is the pattern, so I can just get. Okay, so these are the different helpers that I need to use for the different modules. So for the VCF, this is the one, and I have to invoke it, and here I can filter by path, which I just mentioned to you. So we know that our method get API is get domains, and when I filter by path, I find two commandlets that are generated for this type of path. Obviously, the first one is not the one that we are looking for. The second one is the one. But we can also filter even other items like method. If you remember, we get the get method. So we find the actual command that we have to invoke. And here we can just invoke this commandlet, and we can see the domains. We have a list of elements, so we can just list them, and we see that we have one element. This is the name of the command of the domain and the IP. And also, obviously, we can use also the get help, which are used to for the get. Sorry. It's really hard to And here is what I want to show you, is that for each of these auto-generated commandlets we have the respective help, and even more we have also obviously the full option that will give me all the information about the parameters which are mandatory, how to use them. And also we have this example section which is also accessible through the examples that will give you the actually how to use directly the respective command. Another next step that I can show you with a little more complex operation is like, for example, the actually the rename domain. So here you have to get through the documentation once again. Obviously the prerequisite step is to have such domain. Okay, to get its IP, to get its ID, we have this ID, and then you have to create this domain update spec, which will do the actual modification of the domain. And here we can see that there is this pattern in the VCF that you should do the validation of the spec before actually doing the operation. So this is a two-step method. So now we have to find the method, the command that does this validation. So we get to our best friend get VCF domain operations, and here we have to look for this path. So here the path starts with v1 domains, some ID, and then validations. Okay, so I have also autocomplete here. In the curly brackets I have to say ID and validations, and here it is. I find the command that I need, which task is to validate. So here, once again, let me demonstrate the power of the help that we have and the examples specifically. So here it says I can just directly use this one. I need to create this spec and to provide the ID and provide the spec, and it should give me the result that I need. How to create this, how to invoke the initialize domain spec. Once again, here I can have the get help. Sorry. Examples. You see that it can be much more complex because this is the full spec for this object, but here actually in the parameters I can find somewhere the name. Maybe I'll need the full. So here I can provide somewhere, yeah, I can see here. Okay, so I can just provide the name with this parameter. Okay, so Okay, with name, demo. So I have the spec, and now I have to invoke the validation method that I need. I forgot its name. So I have to provide the ID, which I have it from the request that I just did for get domains, and now I have to provide the spec that I just created. So this is going to check my spec and to say, yeah, it's completed and it's successful. And now I can do the second step of the API, which is, if you remember, to do the, actually I haven't shown it yet, but here, after we get this success response, we have to do the second operation, which is touch with this path. Okay, so I have to find now the okay, I'm just finishing. Okay, so you saw the idea. Your let me summarize you what we just did. So I showed you new. Okay, so basically what I just showed you is that in order to use the second generation of auto-generated commandlets, obviously you have to start with the API Broadcom developer portal. We have this with initializers and invokers, which cover all the operations that we have. We get commandlet, which helps you to match the API operation. And we also have these auto-context examples. So the next steps is to you to go and try it. And here I wanted to show that for this release we are missing this. Although we have this ability for coverage for low-level commandlets, we will continue to invest in high-level commandlets, and in the next release we plan to have all this covered. So I'm not sure if you have time.